If you are elected, what is the first piece of legislation you plan on filing?
That's a very good question. A very good question, Bob. The very first piece of legislation that I plan on filing, because I anticipated not passing this legislative session, is to team up with Representative Ruth Balzer in what will then be the failed effort of House Bill 1888 to establish a mental health court in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. Because it's just not going to pass. I can see the writing on the wall. The filing date for the next legislative session by any senator or representative or elected senator or representative is the first Wednesday in December. That will be the first piece of legislation I file, is to actually establish and fund a mental health court initiative in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, because I have seen for the last nearly 3 years since I left the legislature in October of 2005 an abhorrent in and out of people obviously suffering from mental health issues in our correctional facilities. And I think it's just something that we need to do, and we need to do it today. That'll be the first piece.
Thank you. Representative Flanagan, same question to you.
I am going to refile my school nursing legislation, which is to place a school nurse in every building of the public and non-public schools in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. It has a $16 million earmark in the state budget. It's remained in the state budget year after year, but the law has not been changed in over 100 years. And I think it's time that we put a nurse in every school in the Commonwealth. You know, we hear about how some schools have been funded, some schools have been approved but not funded, how some schools have not even been approved to have a school nurse in the Commonwealth. This is unacceptable. You know, this is our children at stake, and there are children that are attending school, trying to pass MCAS, trying to live up to the standards that we expect them to, and yet at times they don't have a medical personnel in that school. And I think it's much cheaper to have one nurse in a school than it is for a child to take an ambulance ride to an emergency room only to be followed up by a doctor's appointment and to have time lost by their parents at their jobs. This is something that we can do. This is something that we can do as a Commonwealth for all of our children, and I'm going to continue to fight for that legislation, and that'll be one of the first ones that I file.
Thank you. In the Senate primary between John Kerry and Ed O'Reilly, who will you vote for, and why is it important that your candidate win?
I think for the first time in a long time, we're going to have an open and honest discussion about our candidates in the U.S. Senate. Certainly, we're thinking about the future. This is a very big presidential year. I'm supporting John Kerry. I think that Senator Kerry has done a great job out here in North Central Massachusetts, not only funding some of the programs that we have for our families and our children, but also for working alongside people in Congress and people in the Senate to really get the job done. I think that people are not going to go out and vote for John Kerry whether I'm supporting him or not, but I think that we all have our different reasons. Some people, healthcare is important. Some people, his wartime or his experience in the military is important, and for others, they feel that term limits should be in place. I think we need to look at the job that's been done and look at the job that can continue to be done.
Thank you, Mr. Knuuttila. To you.
By the way, if you incarcerate a mentally ill person, it costs about $151 per inmate per day, and that's a conservative estimate. Another reason for mental health courts. At the state Democratic convention, I voted for Ed O'Reilly because he needed 15% of the vote to get on the ballot. He got 22% because I believe in the democratic process. And I think that was needed. But when given the chance to vote, I'm going to vote for Senator Kerry because of his record. And the reason for that, there's many reasons for that, but, and he's been chastised for this a lot. Senator Kerry is a veteran. I'm a veteran. And he's been chastised for his Purple Heart Awards. But let me tell the listening audience about Senator Kerry. There is only one way you can earn a Silver Star, and that's through heroism. And you can't hide that. from anyone, no matter who you are. And that's the reason why I'm voting for Senator Kerry, because of his integrity and his service to our country, not only in Vietnam, but since as well. That's the reason I'm going to vote for Senator Kerry.
Thank you. We will now have a 2-minute closing statement, and Mr. Knuuttila, you will go first.
I was a Marine Infantry Sergeant at the age of 20. I was in charge of many, many fellow Marines. Joined the Marine Corps right out of high school. I've been a police officer for 14 years. Fitchburg State College Campus Police, Shirley, Athol Police, a lot of rural poverty, high IV drug use, AIDS, a lot of alcoholism. Gardner Police Department, where I went to school, working nights, going to school, full-time, nearly full-time, to become a lawyer. Passed the bar exam in 1995, thankfully the first time. Went to work as a CPCS lawyer, a bar advocate in the Fitchburg District Court, and if you want to see something test your soul, try to make 40 or 50 bail arguments after a 3-day weekend, after you're the court-appointed attorney for the Tuesday that follows the bail weekend, or the 3-day weekend, trying to keeping them as active members of society and producing for their families. I spent nearly 10 years in the House of Representatives. I was the vice chair of the House Committee, the House Vice Chair of the Joint Committee on Criminal Justice and Transportation. I dealt with a myriad of issues. I am also a former city councilor, so I know what it means to deal with a municipal budget, to live within your means, and to spend what you have. I know what it is to deal with projected revenues and anticipated costs, and how to make the both meet. I've been a Special Assistant Attorney General and the General Counsel for the Worcester County Jail of House of Correction for the last nearly 3 years, tackling the consent decrees, protecting the Commonwealth of Massachusetts and the Worcester County Jail against various myriad inmate lawsuits in the SJC, the Federal District Court, and the First Circuit Court of Appeals, protecting the taxpayer and the taxpayer's money. I need your vote. Vote on September 16th. You won't be disappointed. I'm a hard worker, and I intend to work hard when I make it to the Senate.
Thank you. Representative Flanagan, to you.
Thank you for having us here tonight. I think this is an important venue for people to understand the differences in candidates, whether they're from any party. It's always important to hear from candidates running for office. My reason for running for the Massachusetts State Senate is simple. It's public service. When I was a junior in college, I began working for the state representative from Leominster. I continued my education part-time while I worked full-time to ensure that I got my bachelor's degree. I went on to work full-time, continuing in the legislature, while I got my master's degree part-time at night, which included practicums in the hospitals, till 1 o'clock in the morning, and it included working all day with my constituency, and it included going back and forth from the districts to Boston. But really what gets me going and what really moves me in public service is the people I represent. I have spent since 1995 in the Massachusetts legislature. I was an intern, I was a legislative aide, I was the chief of staff, and now I'm an elected official. I've gone through the ranks. This is one more progression of the continuity and of the care that I have for the people of this district. I'm running for the state senate because I believe in the people of this district, and I'm willing to work hard on their behalf, just as I have done in the Massachusetts House of Representatives. I've worked on reorganizing government and in adopting the Mental Health and Substance Abuse Committee. I've worked to make sure that we're putting nurses in our school systems for our children. I've worked to make sure that the commuter rail is going to have the upgrades that it needs after 10 years and 8 secretaries of transportation that we've been through. That's a tough road to travel. It's a constant battle on Beacon Hill for the north central Massachusetts area. Northern Worcester County has a lot of problems that we need to attend to, whether it be roads and bridges, whether it be increasing fundings for our schools, whether it be getting new school buildings for our school children. That's why I intend to work as your next state senator, and I ask that you vote on September 16th.
Thank you very much.